Hello people, greetings from the Aptitude Guy. In today's video, we are going to talk about how to get you into the Indian Air Force. Basically, how to crack the AFCAT exam. If you're going to graduate this year, if you're going to graduate the next year, or if you have already graduated, this is one video which you definitely do not want to miss. We are going to talk about the A to Z of AFCAT, the important dates, the syllabus needed, and the eligibility criteria. So make sure you watch the entire video and also share it with your friends, peers and colleagues or your students who might be interested to join the Indian Air Force. So without any further ado, let's get started. First of all, let us learn what is AFCAT. If this is something that you already know, then please skip ahead. Now AFCAT stands for the Air Force Common Admission Test. So obviously this is an exam to get into the Indian Air Force. It's a gateway for both male and female candidates who wish to join the Indian Air Force, obviously. It is conducted to select Class 1 gazetted officers in flying as well as ground duties, both technical and non-technical branches. The exam is held twice a year, once in February and once in August or September. The first exam of this year was already conducted in the month of February. Now some of you might have this question, why should I write the AFCAT exam? Or more importantly, why should I join the Air Force? Now the reasons to join the Air Force are aplenty, but they all boil down to three main things. The first, the paramount, the quintessential reason for you to join the Air Force is obviously the respect that you get and the uniform that you get. I don't think I need to say anything more about this. Now the next reason for you to join the Air Force is obviously the salary. And another reason that people both inside and outside the Air Force know about, that is the benefits that you get. Now we'll talk a little bit more about the salary and the benefits part. The respect part we all know already. If you need me to tell you more about it, then probably this is not the video for you. First, let's talk about the salary. When you join the Indian Air Force, you get two types of salaries. One is during the training and one is after the training. First, let's talk about the salary that you get during the training. Yes, you do get paid while you are getting trained over there. Now, whether you're in the flying branch or the ground duty branch, you get the same stipend, that is 56,100 rupees per month. The deductions for the flying branch is 6,500 rupees and for the ground duty officers it's 4,530 rupees. There is a little bit of a higher deduction for the flying branch officers because of the higher insurance that gets deducted, because obviously there is a higher risk in this job. So the enhanced salary is right in front of you. Now let's talk about after the training. You are done with the training. You are an officer right now. Now what? Your gross salary, if you're in the flying branch, is more than 1,15,000 rupees, and if you're a ground duty officer, it's more than 99,000 rupees. Now the deductions are right here. Again, you see that the deductions for the flying officer is higher than the deduction for the ground duty officer. Again, because of the same thing, due to the higher insurance that gets deducted over here, that comes along with the risk that this job has. The enhanced salary is right in front of you, and it is a pretty handsome salary for a fresher if you ask. Now to talk about the benefits, I'll take you straight to their website. Let's learn about the benefits straight from the horse's mouth. This is the official AFCAT website. Don't worry, I'll share the link with you in the description below. Now let's have a quick look at all the benefits that they offer. The first benefit that they offer is the insurance, obviously. Everybody is offered a life insurance. After that, the benefit of loans. You have a house building loan, you have a computer loan, the conveyance loan. The computer loan alone is worth 2 lakh rupees. Now when it comes to the medical loan, the medical benefits, there are quite a lot. You as well as your families and all your dependents have free access to all the medical rooms and hospitals equipped with the best facilities. And also, if at all their own hospitals are not equipped enough to cater to your needs, they also have a tie-up with a lot of private hospitals outside which will cater to your needs. And even after retirement, you get free medical checkups and free medical treatment from their hospitals and their doctors. A few other miscellaneous benefits, which are the interesting ones, are obviously accommodation. You have these many leaves, you have travel concessions, you have the mess membership where you get free food, you have the school facilities for your kids, you have a bumper discount in their fees if you admit them to the Air Force schools. You have the travel discounts, you have the CSD canteen facilities, you have the sports and recreation facilities for a very, very minimal price. And when it comes to the CSD canteen facilities, you get everything for 70 to 50% of the price. And these things can range from anywhere from a packet of chips to a water filter. Now, they also offer you a lot of educational opportunities. They help you complete your masters from a variety of institutions. You can read the details over here. It's pretty interesting. You get a study leave for up to 24 months, extendable up to 28 months. Even after retirements, the benefits don't stop. You obviously get the pension and you obviously get the insurance. And like I said, even after you are retired, you get the medical facilities given by the Indian Air Force. And another very interesting thing that they provide is the placement cell. That is, after retirement, a lot of people, a lot of officers, a lot of veterans, they feel the need to fulfill their lives by keeping themselves busy. So the Indian Air Force helps them get placed into a suitable job of their own requirement and their interests. So these were all the benefits that they provide on top of the respect and the salary that you are already getting. Now that you know about the salary and the benefits of the job, I hope the information has piqued your interest. So let's talk about the important dates of the exam. The form will be available online on 1st June 2021, which is already done. So the form is online already. It is live. The last date of submission of the form is 30th June 2021 at 5 p.m. Please don't think that you have time until midnight that day, and do not wait until midnight this day. Fill the form as soon as possible so that you can get a good slot for the exam. The admit card will be issued on 9th August 2021. Basically, on 9th August, you have to go to that portal again and then you have to download the admit card. That is where your center and your timing will be mentioned. And the test will be conducted on 3 different days, depending on which slot you get. It will be on 28th August, 29th August, or 30th August, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, respectively. And there are 2 shifts each and every day. The first shift is from 9:45 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. and the next shift is from 2:45 p.m. to 4:45 p.m. Please make sure you reach the examination center at least 1.5 hours before your exam starts. Do not be late. They do not tolerate that. Now let's talk about the million-dollar question, the test details. When it comes to the test, we have 2 types of tests. One is the AFCAT exam, which is the compulsory test for everybody, and the other one is the EKT exam, which stands for Engineering Knowledge Test, which is the technical exam that you give for a ground duty officer. First, let's talk about AFCAT. Now, the AFCAT exam has 4 different sections. The first one is general awareness, that is necessarily GK. You have close to 23 questions over there. The total number of questions are 100, by the way, amongst which GK questions will be 23, verbal ability questions are 29, numerical ability, that is quantitative aptitude, that is basic mathematics, will be just 13, and reasoning, that is logical reasoning and military aptitude test, will be a total of 35 questions. Now these questions may be plus or minus 1 or 2 depending on the different set, but the total number of questions that you will be getting is 100. The total marks of these questions will be 300 and the duration of this test will be 120 minutes, that is 2 hours. This means each and every question has 3 marks each. Now when it comes to the technical test, here you either have mechanical or computer science or electrical and electronics. These branches or any branches related to these branches can write this test. The total number of questions for this test will be 50, and remember, this is an optional test. Depends on you if you want to join the technical team or not. The total marks you get over here is 150, again 3 marks per question. And the total time you get for this is 45 minutes. Now a few extra details about the test. First of all, they are all objective type questions, all MCQ questions, AFCAT and EKT both. For each correct answer, you get 3 marks. For each wrong answer, 1 mark will be deducted. And if a question goes unattempted, you get 0. The cutoff is generally 160 to 170 overall cutoff. This is one good news for a lot of you guys, because there might be few of you whose general awareness is very weak, but you are good at the other 3 topics. Or your numerical ability will be weak, but you are good at GK. So the moral of the story is, if at all you are bad at one of these topics only, you can still crack the AFCAT exam. The other topics, the other sections will lift you up. It is an overall cutoff, not a sectional cutoff. And the total price that you need to pay for this exam for the application part is just 250 rupees. So please make sure you register for it as soon as possible. And while writing the exam, remember that there is negative marking, so you don't mark the answers unnecessarily. Do not do that. Mark the answers only when you are absolutely 100% certain that that is the answer. And please don't think that you have just 120 minutes for 100 questions. That is a little more than 1 minute per question. Do not think that. See, 23 questions out of these 100 questions are GK questions, where you either know the answer or you don't know the answer. You don't need to think too much over there. Alright, so you have a lot of time to solve these questions where you actually need to use your head. So my suggestion to you is, first, when you have the maximum amount of time, solve the numerical ability questions, then the reasoning questions, then the verbal ability questions, and in the end you solve the GK questions. And when it comes to the difficulty level of the questions, it is easy to moderate. So please don't think that you'll run out of time. Now, since we have spoken about the difficulty level, let's talk about the syllabus of these topics. When it comes to verbal ability, that is normal English language, the topics include vocabulary, that is synonyms and antonyms, grammar, that is error detection or sentence completion and close test. Basically, you'll be given a paragraph with a few words missing, and you will have a bunch of options from where you have to select and fill the blanks. Then you have reading comprehension, obviously. Then you have idioms and phrases, and you have spellings. This is one thing that you don't see in a lot of exams, but they are very particular about the spellings. So make sure you practice them well, especially those of you who use short forms while texting your friends and family. Make sure you start typing full words from now. The next is numerical ability, that is quant, that is basic mathematics. The most basic topics that they ask in numerical ability are decimals and fractions. After that, when it comes to the applied mathematics section, we have percentages, discount, profit and loss, simple interest and compound interest, basically the entire percentage family. Then we have ratios, averages, mixtures and aggregation. We have time, speed and distance, boats and streams, train problems, they all come in the same family. And we have time and work, pipes and cisterns. One very good news for a lot of you, there is no mensuration, there is no geometry, there is no permutation combination, there is no probability, there is no logarithms. None of that. These are very simple basic mathematical questions which you can solve with a minimal amount of practice. And another thing, calculators are not allowed during the exam. So make sure you start practicing your hand on paper calculation or your mental mathematics. Now let's talk about the syllabus of reasoning and military aptitude. Remember, this topic is a topic where maximum number of questions are asked. So when it comes to this, we have verbal reasoning, we have analogies, we have odd one out, we have series completion, we have Venn diagram, and we have non-verbal reasoning where you have a lot of images, a lot of visual reasoning questions like the figure matrix, the figure analogy, the figure series, the completion of figures, and the dot situation questions. These topics are designed to make you scratch your head. So make sure you practice well enough. Now let's talk about the general awareness section, the general knowledge, the GK section. Now when it comes to this, few of the most commonly asked questions are the static GK questions. In the sense, the answers of those questions never ever change. For example, the biggest something, the smallest something, the longest something, the shortest something, the oldest something, things like that. After that, we have sports based GK, that is whatever happened in the past year or the past 6 or 8 months in the world of sports, who won which event, who lost which event, so on and so forth. Defense based GK, this is where they talk about the newest technologies which were applied in the defense mechanism in all the different defense sectors. After that, we have the recent appointments. This is very important. For this, you need to really read the newspapers as well as be well aware with all the recent developments around the country. This is where you need to know who is the who of what, who got appointed where, who is the recent officer here, who is the recent politician here, so on and so forth. After that, you have books and authors. You need to know your books and authors, which book got released when and who was the author of that book. Make sure you read well about the bestsellers. After that, when it comes to the polity or the politics, we have the constitutional offices. We need to know about the tenures, the oaths, and the rights of these constitutional offices. After that, when it comes to the history part, we have the modern history and the medieval history. They generally don't ask about the ancient history part. So you need to learn all about the different movements that they had and the architecture during this time. After that, you have the geography, where you talk about the mountains, the rivers, and the national parks. You need to know about the names, you need to know about the locations, so on and so forth. You get the point. Now comes a very important question: where to prepare from? Now we know what to prepare, how much to prepare. Now let's talk about where to prepare from. One of the best websites to prepare aptitude questions from is indiabix.com. When you go to indiabix.com, you see these following options over there. When it comes to numerical ability, you can go to the arithmetic aptitude section. Only prepare for the topics that I have mentioned in this video. Do not try to overdo it. Do not try to focus on the other topics which have not been mentioned in the video. Don't waste your time there. When it comes to the verbal ability part, the vocabulary and the grammar part, the verbal ability section will help you out. And when it comes to the reasoning part, these three topics will help you out a lot. Now, apart from this, if you want an access to the old questions, the previous year's questions and all that, then you have this book. This is the best book to learn about the previous year's questions, the patterns, and the solutions of the same questions. Now, before all this, if you want to get a feel of the real AFCAT exam, the real AFCAT question paper, then a few model question papers have been uploaded on the main AFCAT website itself. Here you will find 3 different model papers for the EKT section as well as the AFCAT section. You can download them, you can solve them, and the answer keys are also available over there. You can check your answers yourself. And don't worry, I will be posting all these links in the description below. Now remember, you have almost 2.5 months to prepare for this exam. That is a pretty good time to prepare for this exam, and you already have the resources. So make sure you use them well. And please don't wait until August to start preparing for the exam. Start right now. Your future self will thank you for this. Now let's talk about a very important question that many of you might have in your minds right now. Who can apply? Basically, the eligibility criteria for this exam. Now, when it comes to the eligibility criteria for this exam, there are 2 types of criteria. One is the age factor and one is the education qualification. So let's talk about that. When it comes to the age factor, for applying for the flying branch position to become a flying officer, you need to be the age of 20 to 24 on 1st July 2022. That means you need to be born between 2nd July 1998 and 1st July 2004. Including these dates. That means if you were born on 2nd July 1998 or if you were born on 1st July 2004, that also counts. You are in. Now, when it comes to the ground duty officers, both technical and non-technical, it's the same criteria for age. You need to be any age between 20 and 26 on 1st July 2022. That means you need to be born between 2nd July 1996 and 1st July 2004. Again, the dates are inclusive. That means it's okay if you were born on 2nd July 96 or 1st July 2004. Now you might be wondering, why is 1st July 2022 such a magical number over here? Why is it such an important date? That is because the people who clear the AFCAT and the SSB and everything, and the people who ultimately clear all the rounds, your training will start on this date. on 1st July 2022. So they need you to be these ages before your training starts. Now let's talk about the education part. To apply for the flying officer position, you need to have a total of 60% in your graduation and 50% in math and physics in 12th. That means you need to have had science stream in 11th and 12th. Now here a lot of people might have this question, what if I have done my diploma instead of 12th? Then unfortunately you are not eligible to write AFCAT this time. If you have done 11th and 12th and diploma, then you are good. But if you have done just diploma instead of 11th and 12th, then you are not eligible, I'm sorry. And when it comes to the graduation part, it could be any graduation. It could be BTech, it could be BCom, it could be anything. Now, when it comes to the ground duty officer, the technical part, you need to have a total of 60% in BE or BTech. Now here, obviously the branch of graduation matters because you are applying for a technical role. So you need to have a technical degree over here. Now, which technical degree specifically? You need to have a mechanical engineering equivalent degree or a computer science equivalent degree or an electrical and electronics equivalent degree. If you are from the civil engineering background, unfortunately, you will not be eligible for this particular position, but you can apply for the flying branch position. And here as well, you need 50% marks in math and physics individually in 12th standard. Here also it is individually. Now, when it comes to the ground duty officer, the non-technical branches, all you need is 60% in graduation, that is any graduation, and there is no criteria for 11th and 12th over here. Now, some of you might be wondering, I haven't finished my graduation yet. What do I do? Now, I told you in the beginning of the video, whether you are doing your graduation right now or if you will finish your graduation next year, you are still eligible for this exam. So, the candidates in the pre-final year of their graduation can also apply. You just need to be sure that you will complete your graduation in 2022. Basically, before the commencement of your training on this date, before 1st July 2022, you need to have finished the exams of your graduation. Now, there might be some of you who might have this question, what if my final exams are not conducted before 1st July 2022? What do I do then? Or my exam is conducted before 1st July 2022, but my marks card will not be available before this date. Then what do I do? Then what you can do is you can talk to them, you can talk to the officials over there. What they will do is they will make you sign a bond of 1 lakh rupees over there, and they will give you an extension of 12 weeks. Basically, 12 weeks after 1st July 2022, that is almost 3 months, you need to have your final marks card and your graduation certificate in your hand, which you can produce over there. Once you do that within 12 weeks after this date, you don't have to pay that 1 lakh rupees. But if in case even after the 12 weeks, if you are not able to produce your marks card, or if you are able to produce your marks card but you do not fulfill this criteria, then unfortunately you will have to pay them 1 lakh rupees, because for those 12 weeks you would have undergone training under them and you need to obviously pay for that. Now, any doubts that you guys might have about the eligibility section over here, please mention them in the comment section below. I will try my level best to answer your questions. Now, since some of you have not finished your graduation, or if you have finished your graduation but haven't received the marks card, during the form filling procedure, you will be asked to produce your marks. What will you do then? Just mention the marks that you have till date. If you have the marks till the previous semester or the semester before that, make sure you mention the total aggregate marks till that semester. Fill the form till then. The rest you can check it out later on. Now, the ultimate question, where shall I apply? I know what to do. I know how to do it. I know why should I do it. I know what I'll get if I do it correctly. Now, where shall I apply? Now, the registration link is this. Obviously, I'll drop it down in the description below. When you go to that link, you will see something like this. That means you are in the right place. You can fill up the registration form over here and then you need to log in. And then the form is pretty self-explanatory. You'll need to upload the proper documents and everything. The details of all these things will be mentioned in the notification PDF. And that link, obviously, again, I'll mention in the description below. It's a 51 page long PDF link. It's a pretty descriptive link about what all you need to do, what all you do not need to do. So any doubts that you might have, there is a very, very, very good chance that it has already been answered in the notification PDF. The links of all these things will obviously be in the description below. And a quick payment tip that I wanted to give you guys is, when you are paying, you will have an option to pay through debit card, credit card, or UPI link, obviously. Prefer using the debit card or the credit card link. The UPI is giving a few issues for a lot of people. So if you could stick to the debit card or the credit card part, it'll be better. So this was all about AFCAT. Make sure you share this video with all your peers and your friends and your students, whoever is looking for a job or is interested to make a career in the Indian Air Force. People need information like this now more than ever, especially during these uncertain times. So make sure you do the needful. Also, if you think that you might forget the contents of this video later on, then make sure you like the video so that the video is saved in your YouTube library under the like videos section. I wish you all the very best, and any doubts that you might have, please drop them in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more such updates. Thank you so much.